Welcome back to Timeout with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are back with our NFL Week 1 overreactions. As you guys saw in the title, Week 1 wrapped up Monday night. It's now Wednesday as we're recording this. Week 2 starts tomorrow night. So we figured, you know what? What's better than to base an entire team, an entire season off of one game? So that's what we're going to do. We each brought, I think, about 5 overreactions.
Yep.
Hopefully we don't have the same ones. I don't think we really double-checked. We were going to do this originally for every team. And we're like, you know what? 32 teams to overreact to is a lot. That's a long video. And honestly, some of the teams really, there's not really much to talk about. So I think we kind of, so yeah, that's what we're doing today. But before we get into that, I want to say go down, like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Big thing. While you're down there, go check out my channel, Cloud2K. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Hopefully hitting that in some time. I don't know. Put out a Lakers rebuild earlier the week. Put out a Spurs rebuild today for 2K25. So go check this out. And now that that's all out of the way, Levi, you have college football. Take it away.
Alrighty, so we just wrapped up week 2 of the college football season. It was an interesting week 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kick it off with number 9 Oregon beating Boise State 37-34.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Boise State, man, their running back. I have his name here. Ashton Jeanty. And running back Ashton Jeanty is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's leading the entire SEC, the entire NCAA in rushing yards, and I believe rushing touchdowns, or he's up there for rushing touchdowns. This man is a beast. He went for 192 and 3 touchdowns. In my opinion, he's the leader for the Heisman right now. He's been playing such a phenomenal standpoint, but Oregon did get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Got a shout out to Tez Johnson for an 85-yard punt return touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah Whittington should have had a 100-yard kick return touchdown, but he dropped it at the goal line. Didn't cross over with it. Oregon fell on it, but Boise State basically threw the kitchen sink at Oregon, and Oregon came out on top. I think Boise State should have won, but Oregon did pull it out with a late field goal at the very end. Oregon on the offensive side still struggled a little bit, but this Boise State team is probably one of the best group of 5 teams you can go against right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of like a good test for Oregon heading into week 3 when they go against a rival Oregon State.
All right. Yeah.
Now into the next game, I feel like we all thought this was going to be a little bit more close. It's Texas and Michigan.
Yeah.
Texas kind of just ran right over Michigan. I mean, Michigan is not the team they were last year. I feel like the Michigan team got overhyped because of their running back, Donovan Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. Not saying he can't play football, but this Michigan team in general is just not good. Like, I don't think they're going to be ranked in the top 25 by the year's end. And on the flip side, Texas basically punched Michigan in the mouth and said, hey, we're here. We're not going away. And I feel like this Texas team has a legitimate shot at dethroning Georgia for the SEC championship.
I agree. Yeah, I think I picked Texas. Obviously, I'm a very not fan of Michigan being a Penn State fan, so I'm always happy to see them lose.
And this game, if you box score watch and you just look at the end total, it's not going to look pretty, but it's USF and Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Through 3 quarters, USF kept it close. They were within like 1 or 2 possessions most of the game. But then in the 4th quarter, Bama just showed why they're a top SEC. Even with the new coaching regime, they came out, scored 4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, and just kind of just cakewalk to the end. A shout out to USF for keeping it close, but Bama is just another beast even without Nick Saban.
Exactly, yep.
For the final game, we have Tennessee versus NC State. I mean, I feel like even a lot of people, even myself included, thought this game was going to be closer. Thought this game was going to be a touchdown or 2, but Tennessee just came out and just blew the door off NC State. And everyone thought the Tennessee defensive backs would be a problem, and NC State was going to be able to just throw the ball over them. Did not happen. Did not happen at all. And Tennessee also showed why their D-line is one of the best in the country, and just with the depth that they have and everything. But NC State does have a chance. They need to regroup, and they need to get a win against Louisiana Tech this week coming up So hopefully they can regroup and then go into ACC play and make a name for themselves.
Shout out Tennessee, man.
Shout out Tennessee. Now on to, do you have anything to add to any of that before I move on?
No, as you know, we were kind of busy all day Saturday, so I didn't really get a chance to watch any games. So I don't really have much to add this week, unfortunately.
All right, so on to the 4 games for week 3. First game I have is number 20 Arizona at number 14 Kansas State. Arizona coming into the game 2-0. They had an amazing game against New Mexico. I believe they put up over 50 points. And I just took it to them. But then against Northern Arizona, I believe an FCS team, they only scored 22 points. They won 22-10. Still a win, but they need to bounce back. The QB, Noah Fifida, I think that's how you say it. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the nation, in my opinion. So he's got to keep it rolling against a Kansas State team that has a good defense. Kansas State, on the other hand, 2-0. They got a tough win against Tulane. Tulane, one of the better group of 5 teams out there. But Kansas State relies on their rushing attack more than anything.
Yeah.
That they really do. On the opposite side, Arizona likes to throw the ball. Get that ball out there, move it around, and kind of like two contrasting offenses here. But Kansas State is favored by 7.5, and Kansas State is at home. But I have Arizona coming in and getting the upset and win over Kansas State.
Sure. I'll go with that too. No, like you said, Arizona does have more like the pass heavy offense, and unfortunately, as we kind of know, that's just kind of the way college football is nowadays. And you know what I mean? Like you can be a great running team, but I don't want to say always, but most of the time, a heavy pass attack is just going to produce more points.
Now, speaking of kind of the same thing, we have number 24, Boston College at number 6, Missouri. Missouri is favored by 17 points. Now, Boston College just got a win of 56 points over Duquesne, and they beat, in week 1, they beat number 10 Florida State. So that was kind of their big win.
Yeah.
But Boston College, they rely a lot on their running game, more so than Kansas State. They have 3 players with over 100 yards rushing. And that was one of the big reasons why they could upset Florida State. Now, on the other hand, Missouri, their passing attack is lethal. If you watched Missouri last year with some of the guys that they had and their quarterback, Brady Cook, who's a senior now, he can absolutely throw the ball around the field. He can make, in my opinion, almost any pass you need a quarterback to make. And in this Missouri offense, I just don't think that Boston College is going to be able to hang in, especially with them being a more running style team. If Missouri up 2-3 scores and Boston College can't do anything on defense, they're going to find themselves in a hole they're not going to be able to dig themselves out of. I have Missouri winning.
Yeah, me too. Shout out Michael Sam. That's a good one to shout out for Missouri.
There you go. Now on to our next game. We have Tulane at number 15 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is favored by 13.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma had a scare against Houston, only winning 16-12. I think it was just a miscue. I think Oklahoma is still one of the better teams in college football, but I don't think they're the mega team or like the powerhouse everyone wants them to be this year. I just don't think that's it. Tulane, one of the better group of 5 teams. They've been doing pretty good. Tulane lost a hard-fought game to Kansas State, 34-27. They do have a little bit of battle testedness there. I feel like Tulane's going to come out with a vengeance against Oklahoma and try and prove that, hey, we're here. We deserve that last spot in college football. I think Tulane gets the upset over Oklahoma in Oklahoma.
Okay. I'm a fan of upsets. We'll go with Tulane, the Green Wave, baby.
Hell yeah, let's go Tulane. For our final game of this week, we have number 9 Oregon at Oregon State. Talked about this a little bit earlier with the Boise State and Oregon game, but Oregon struggled to run the ball. Oregon struggled to defend the run against Boise State's Ashton Jeaney. Went for 192 yards, 3 touchdowns, like I said before. But Oregon State doesn't have just one guy. They have 2 guys. They have Jam Griffin, who has 249 yards, 3 touchdowns on the year, and Anthony Hankerson, who has 226 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. They have a really good duo backfield here that can keep it rejuvenized and keep it flowing. Now, the only thing I can say about Oregon State is their passing attack. If they find themselves behind in the sticks or behind in the game, that could be the big opening that Oregon needs to win this game. But Oregon State, if they can get 3 to 4 or 5 yards every run and just keep doing that, wind that clock down, it wouldn't surprise me if Oregon State wins. But Oregon, they got Dylan Gabriel. He played at UCF. He played at Oklahoma. Now he's in Oregon. Like one of the better quarterbacks in college football. He has 623 yards, 4 touchdowns, an astonishing 84% completion percentage so far this season through 2 games. I originally picked Oregon to win, but I think Oregon State's going to run the ball, control the clock, and they're going to defeat Oregon. And Oregon is going to have their, I shouldn't say season in question, but it's going to raise some question marks around this Oregon team to where are they actually the powerhouse that everyone says they're going to be? And do they actually have a chance to compete in the Big Ten?
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to go Oregon State as well. I mean, like I said, the way Oregon's been playing the first couple of weeks, we're really not sure. Like I said, we're already questioning if they're really the powerhouse we think they are. And usually teams like that are going to have that loss that's like, oh, man, like Florida State going into the season, a lot of people had them. They thought after last year getting left out of the playoffs, they would come with a chip on their shoulder. And then you see what happened the first couple weeks of the season. They just come out flat, they lose, and boom, now we're looking completely differently. I think Oregon's obviously a better team than Florida State. But it just seems like they're kind of the team we have questions about, and I think it's one of those like rivalry games, right? Because Oregon State, you know what I mean? That like Oregon State's going to come out and be like, listen, like people don't believe in you, and we're going to come out here and show them that they're right not to believe in you.
Absolutely, like I said, Oregon favored by 16, but I think being at home and the running game that Oregon State has, this could smell an upset for Oregon.
Yeah.
All right, that's the last thing I got.
Well, thank you to Levi again for his college football picks. And you will see on Sunday, we do our NFL picks. We're going to start uploading those in TikTok, or not on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts. Instead of like putting the episode, we're going to make its own thing. Sunday morning, we're going to post Levi's picks for the week. Unfortunately, it's not going to include Thursday night. Maybe we'll do Thursday night, like at the end of the video, and then we'll do Sunday, Monday. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go there. But is there anything you want to talk about before we get into these week 1 overreactions?
I mean, not really anything that I could really talk about. I kind of have here for my overreaction. So let's get right into it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We'll go into our week 1 overreactions. We both, like I said, I have 5. You said you have 5.
Yep.
Okay. Who wants to start? Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I mean, I can start.
Go ahead.
Bengals not as good as everyone expected them to be. Don't think they're going to be top 2. I don't think they're going to be a real contender in the AFC North. I mean, Joe Burrow came out, didn't look the best. Jamar Chase only got 6 targets. I know they didn't have T. Higgins, but this team it doesn't feel like the same team that got to the Super Bowl and the same team that has been a contender in the AFC. You know, been that thorn in the side of some of these teams. I just don't have the juice. It doesn't feel like they have that juice this year that they've had in past years. The defense still looking good. They still have Trey Hendrickson. I don't know. There's just something about this team. I don't think they're gonna even make it into the playoffs. I think they're actually gonna have a losing record.
Yeah. So like, I'll just go ahead and like talk about years because I do have one for the Bengals as well. That I think this could be the last year we have their offensive core together of Burrow, Chase, and T. Higgins. I mean, obviously we know what's going on with Jamar Chase that he was holding out for a contract, got 6 targets. Where like this is a game against as Patriots secondary, he should have got double-digit targets. He should have had a big game. Unfortunately, just didn't happen. T. Higgins didn't play week 1 because he's got his hamstring injury. He's looking for a new deal too. I just think it's a way where like if they have a bad season, I don't think both, but I think at least one of those 2 receivers could find their way out of Cincinnati. It's most likely going to be T. Higgins. It's going to find his way out. They're going to do everything they can to prioritize Jamar Chase and keep him in Cincinnati. But again, losing T. Higgins, they lost Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon's gone. Like in the past couple of years, they've lost really like multiple key parts of this offense. And offensive line is still having their issues. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Like this team just isn't what a lot of people thought they were going to be. And I mean, even like ever since the Super Bowl run, they've been pretty up and down. Like obviously some Joe Burrow injuries, some injuries from other places, but they're just not. They're not. I don't think they're going to compete for the AFC North. And I don't even remember what I had them predicted as record-wise, but after this week 1 showing, I know I had them beating the Patriots. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Coming out and losing to the Patriots, very well. I'll play devil's advocate. It could be a fluke game. and they could come out and they could win the next 4 or 5 straight. And it's like you just kind of forget about week one. They had the Jamar Chase stuff. They had the T. Higgins stuff. They get a bad loss out of the way and they go on a streak. It very much could be that, but that's not what we're doing here today. We're overreacting.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to talk about it. Maybe the Bengals just aren't a very good team. Maybe,
maybe they finished last in the AFC North.
Maybe they finished last in the AFC North. Maybe Joe Burrow, a little overhyped. Yeah, a little overhyped, a little overburdened. Maybe I don't know. Like I said, after week one, he's got his moments, but he's also not been the most consistent quarterback. You know what I mean?
And I do believe something came out earlier today that T. Higgins declined the new contract that the Bengals tried to.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. You can, fact check me in the comments, but I do believe they did send out another contract, and he said no, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, they just have a lot going on over there in Cincinnati, and this is a team that, with one of the best receivers in the NFL, with, I'd say, like, when healthy, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, and a guy like T. Higgins, who's also proven himself to be a really good receiver. Like, you thought their offense is going to be able to come out and hit, because they also have, like, a tandem. I know they lost Joe Mixon, but they have a tandem of running backs. Like, they have guys that can take carries. And they put up 10 points against this Patriots defense. It's just, I mean, we were talking about how bad this Patriots team, we're talking about this Patriots team could be one of the worst in the NFL. And they traded Matthew Judon before the season started and already on a bad defense. So it's like, there's just no excuse for this offense to only put up 10 points. Yeah, no, I agree. I think this could be kind of no, I'm not going to use the term last dance because that's like you're like one of the better teams. Like they don't get a last dance. This could be like one of the last opportunities for this team with this core to kind of figure it out before they're going to just decide to move on from something.
Yeah, I mean, and with this core, we've seen them make it to the Super Bowl. They did lose to the Rams, but they've been to at least 2 AFC Championship games.
Was it 2 or just 1? But yeah, I understand.
They've had a couple of playoff appearances, made it to the Super Bowl. There's high expectations here, and I don't think they're going to meet them.
Mm-hmm. What do you have next?
My next one is coincidentally the New England Patriots.
Okay, I don't have anything about the Patriots. So.
Patriots AFC East contenders. I'm saying it now.
Okay. Yep, this is definitely week one overreactions. All right, let's go.
But hey, like we were just talking about, they just beat the Bengals. Like everybody, like if you went to any sports analysis, you go to any podcast with NFL in it, they had the Bengals beating the Patriots, most of them by double digits. That didn't happen. The Patriots did a tough, gritty win. Ramondre Stevenson, he went for, I have the stats right. Okay, I thought I had the stats here. Okay. Anyways, Ramondre Stevenson was a beast. I believe he had over 120 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Jacoby Brissett went for 15 for 24, 121 yards. He did what he needed to do to just basically move that game along. He basically played game manager. I believe Ramondre Stevenson had like 4.6 yards per carry. They were just pounding the ball straight down the Bengals defense. I feel like they can continue this all year. Ramondre Stevenson going to be top 10 in rushing yards. This is going to be Ramondre Stevenson's coming out party, as you could say. He's going to be a
breakout season.
He's going to be a beast this year for the Patriots. And the Patriots, we don't know what's going on with the Jets. The Bills, they're still a little shaky. The Jets, we don't know. They lost to the 49ers. Rodgers didn't look good. And obviously the Dolphins, they can't play in cold weather. So, Patriots, they might, sneak their way in there. Maybe 10-7 from the Patriots is possible.
I mean, if I'm going along with the theme of today's episode, I'll say sure, why not? If I'm bringing logic in, there's no way in hell. They just simply don't have a talented enough roster to keep up with the Bills, the Patriots, Bills, the Dolphins, and even the Jets if they can figure that out. I do have something to talk about with the Jets here next, but I mean, they looked decent. They got a good win. You know what I mean? Like this offense isn't going to be great. This defense isn't going to be great most of the season. But you know what? You got to take the wins when you can. And if you can beat a team like the Bengals, who week ones we don't really know, but could maybe be a playoff team, could maybe not be a playoff team. You just got to take those wins. I mean, Gerard Mayo, his first game as an NFL head coach, gets a win. That's a big morale boost for the team. That's going to be big for him. So, you know what? Maybe things aren't as bleak and dim in New England as we thought they are.
Also, shout out Keon White. I believe he had 2.5 sacks, 2 sacks. Shout out to him.
Yeah. So my second one was basically did we overstate how good Aaron Rodgers was going to make this Jets offense? Basically, you know what I mean? Like, is this just going to be the same old Jets? They lost to the 49ers, and you know what? He didn't play that well. Like I said, we talked about that. I had the stats pulled up here, and I think I completely lost them for a second. So give me 1 second to pull it back up. Yeah, 13 for 21, 167, and a touchdown. Brees Hall didn't really do much, 16 for 54. He got a touchdown. Garrett Wilson 6 for 20. Alan Lazard had 2 touchdowns. I think he this was because Tyrod Taylor came in through 8 passes, threw a touchdown to him. And I understand it's his first game back from what is an Achilles, I'm pretty sure, last year.
Yeah.
But you know what? Aaron Rodgers was brought to this team to make them contenders. That's the reason they brought him in last year, because they knew how great of a defense they had. They knew they had some pieces on the offense. They just didn't have a quarterback to take them to the next step. And frankly, I understand, again, they're playing the 49ers, one of the best defenses in the NFL. A lot of great play, maybe the best defense in the NFL, depending if you want to look at the Cowboys. Anyway,
you could also look at the Steelers.
Yeah. You guys screwed up Kirk Cousins. Anyway, but it just was a very, very, very underwhelming performance from Aaron Rodgers. He just didn't really look good most of the game, and that's very concerning because he's like 40, 41 now. Like he's
old.
He's old, and if this is the Aaron Rodgers you're going to get this season, is it much of an upgrade from what you were getting last season?
I can't argue with you there. I really can't.
Like, I'm obviously like he's going to be better, but like, is it going to be enough to propel them deep into the playoffs? Like, yes.
No.
So you have the Patriots. You can probably beat up on, depending how I don't know. We don't know the Patriots at this point in time, but you have the Dolphins and you have the Bills that are just better. They're just better, unfortunately. And this is a division where it's like the Dolphins or the Bills are going to make the playoffs, and the other one's probably going to make the wild card. At least I think. So it's like, where did the Jets fit in? And if Aaron Rodgers is like this, like I don't think anybody really expected MVP Aaron Rodgers, but like 167 in the touchdown, it's very pedestrian. It's a very, very pedestrian game from a guy you're paying all this money to bring in to do well.
Absolutely. Rodgers at just old age, like they say, father time is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're LeBron, knock on wood.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I mean, father time always comes around. It's sooner or later, and that Achilles injury, I really think messed him up. But I mean, obviously, week 1. But I don't think the Jets are going to be as good as everyone hoped they'd be. I think they're going to be a little bit better with Rodgers and the quarterback play, but I don't see it. I think the Jets are going to be about where they were last year, just because Aaron Rodgers is trying to get back from the injury. Maybe next year if Rodgers still plays, but even then, he's just getting too old, and I just don't think there's enough weapons around him.
Yeah. What do you have next?
My next one is the Atlanta Falcons won't make the playoffs.
Okay. I don't think I have anything about the Falcons. Yeah.
They won't really be. I feel like the Bucs are going to take that division. The Falcons won't make the playoffs. I think they'll maybe be 500 team, maybe like 7-10. Their offense was, let's just be honest, they did go against a good Steelers defense, but their offense was just not good. The only thing they really had going for them was Bijan Robinson running the ball, getting 4 to 5 yards at a time, absolutely just manhandling the Steelers. I will say that.
The Kyle Pitts touchdown.
Kyle Pitts touchdown. Kyle Pitts did get a touchdown.
Yes.
He got a touchdown for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Actually caught a touchdown. Shout out to all the fantasy users that got excited about that. Hell yeah. But no, I mean, also with the other thing related to Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins coming off that, I believe, the Achilles injury also.
It was a leg injury. I remember that. It was like a leg knee, something
like that. ACL or Achilles. It was major, I believe. But, coming off an injury, and he's an older quarterback. I believe he's in the backside of 30. Like 30,
I think he's around 35, 36, yeah.
36. Not a young spring chicken anymore. I know they paid him all that money, but I don't think this is the same Kirk Cousins that we've seen throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, he never threw to Stephon Diggs. I don't believe so. Stephon Diggs was out. Okay. Anyways, but this Falcons team, I'm getting
a phone call.
But this Falcons team, they're just not good. in my opinion. Like, obviously, week 1, but overreactions. Falcons won't make the playoffs, won't really be a contender in their division. I just don't see it from the offense and the defense. They did hold the Steelers to 6 field goals, but the Steelers still won.
Yep.
That's when you can hold them to field goals all day, but if your offense can't put points on the board, or you can't stop them on the other side of the field, how do you expect to win a football game? Are we good?
Let me put this out. Was it the Falcons defense or the inept Steelers offense? Was it the Falcons playing good defense, or the Steelers just couldn't move the ball? Because maybe what if this Falcons defense comes out week 2 and gets torched, and it turns out it's just the Steelers offense couldn't move the ball?
That could be a possibility.
Because it's still Justin Fields.
Week 1.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't want to overrate this Falcons defense because they played Justin Fields in the Steelers offense week 1. I'm not. It's not even a shot, but it's true as much as I know it's true.
Even though I want to deny it is true.
Like it's
true, but hey, the Steelers did have some chunk plays. I feel like they could have got a lot more if they would have went for it, but they got into the old Steelers offense that we're accustomed to.
That's like being a Saints fan and thinking you're the best defense in the league because you destroyed the Carolina Panthers. It's like, come on, man. It's the Panthers. And that's no shots, but it's like you just have to take it into account. And I'll say the same thing later because I have something about my favorite team on this list. And I'll make that same, you gotta pump the brakes. You gotta realize who you played. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to overrate the Falcons defense yet, just because they played a Steelers offense that, again, maybe in 5 weeks the Steelers offense is running and it's like a good offense, and it's like, okay, yeah, the Falcons just played good defense. But from what we've seen in the past couple of years in Pittsburgh and from the quarterbacks that are on the team, I don't know.
Hey, newsflash. Paul's basically insinuating the Falcons are as bad as the Panthers.
Yeah, that's totally what I said. Yep. That is what I said. Yep.
Falcons are going to go 3-14 this year.
Oh, man. Did you have more with that, though? I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, no, that's about it. Like I said, Falcons just don't think they're really that good.
I think, if I'm being real, I think the Falcons are going to be okay. I think they just had a very bad week 1 showing. I do really think they played against TJ Watt, which is always going to be a tough task for any offensive line. Even with their offensive line not being great. Again, kind of the same grace we gave Aaron Rodgers. I got to get to Kirk Cousins with your first game back from major leg injury. You know what I mean? He didn't look very good. He looked worse than Rodgers. 100%. He looked worse than Rodgers. Rodgers played the better defense, but the Steelers' defense is still great. So it's not like it's that big of a, you know what I mean? Because the Steelers have the crazy front, but the 49ers just have a defense. You know what I mean? So it's you can't really. They're both kind of on a similar scale where they both play great defenses. I don't know. Is this saying maybe Michael Penix plays this year if Kirk Cousins keeps looking like this?
Falcons 1-6 by week 7.
I don't think it'll take that long. I don't think it'll take that long. If they get to week 5 and they only have a win or so, they're gonna put Penix in.
Even though they're paying Rodgers that much money, you got to figure money talks.
Kirk Cousins.
If you're paying a guy like Kirk Cousins that much money, do you really want him to have on the bench for a rookie?
But that was the whole idea in the first place, because they gave Kirk Cousins his contract. He was never going to play the whole contract with them drafting Michael Penix in the first round.
Yeah, but in the first year, though?
I understand that, but if he's playing that bad, what are you going to do? You got to give the rookie some snaps.
This is from more of a GM money standpoint. It's like you're paying Michael Penix Jr. I don't know, but it's kind of like pennies on the dollar to what you're compared to Kirk Cousins. And you're basically going to sit, I think it's 40-something million, even more. But whatever that price tag is, now you're just paying Kirk Cousins to show up and be the backup and not do that much.
I understand that point, but it's at the same time, if Kirk Cousins is bad for multiple weeks into the season, you got to give the rookie a shot and see what he can do.
Absolutely, from an X's and O's, a head coach standpoint, abso-fucking-lutely. I will agree with that 100%. But more of a GM, because there's always that ugly word. There's politics that happen behind the scenes,
100%. Yeah.
and so like I said, money always talks.
No, I get what you're saying. No, you're right with that. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Falcons are going to be okay. I just think they had a really bad showing. Or maybe they're going to be bad, and Michael Penix is playing by midseason. I don't know. My next one is – huh?
Week 1 overreactions.
Yeah. My week 1 overreactions is just kind of got updated within the past day or two with some new stuff coming out. The Browns need to cut Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
He needs to be gone.
Yes.
And it hurts. Well, let me talk through this in a way, because I was a Clemson and Houston Texans Deshaun Watson fan. I really, really was. He was great at Clemson. He had really, really big flashes and big moments in Houston where I'm like, this guy is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then all this stuff came out, and it's like, damn, you can't really root for him anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks that he did what he did, and he deserves a punishment for it. And it also just sucks is like, now I just can't root for a player that I once really liked. You know what I mean? So he gets traded to Cleveland. They give him $240 million. I'm pretty sure it's all guaranteed, right? At least $200 million of it's guaranteed.
Yeah, I believe the entire contract was guaranteed.
So they're like, okay, Cleveland's another one of those teams that's like maybe they were just a quarterback away because they have a great defense. They have some good receivers. Because at that point in time, they still had Odell. They had Amari Cooper. Like they had Nick Chubb in the running back. Like they had a good offensive line. Like this team is a quarterback away from competing in the AFC North. And for the first time in pretty much all our lives, the Browns could be deep into the playoffs. Yeah. So they trade for a guy that had legal stuff going on. So maybe they were able to get him a little bit cheaper than – I don't even remember the full trade, honestly. It's been a while. But, like, maybe get him a little bit. But they knew the allegations were there. So that was maybe another kind of shitty thing from the Browns is trade for this guy with all these allegations.
Yeah.
And then they give him this $240 million. And week 1 was his 13th game played in 3 years. He's not on the field. And when he is on the field, he's not good. And it's crazy to watch because I can still – how do I want to word this? When Deshaun Watson's on the field, it's like, okay, you kind of like expect a certain level of quarterback from what you saw from Clemson, from what you saw even in Houston. And the fact that, like, he just looks like he forgot how to play football. Obviously, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I was watching this Cowboys-Browns game. Like, I watched the entire game. He was missing most of the throws. Dallas was playing good defense. We were getting pass rush in his face. But there's sometimes he had people wide open within 10 yards, and he flat out missed the throw. The Trayvon Diggs interception is he threw the ball, and it kind of bounced off the receiver's hand, but the receiver was maybe 5 yards down the field and had to really reach out his full grasp, try to get the ball and hit off his hands, and Trayvon Diggs picked it off. He was right behind. Then he had multiple ones. He hit the deep ball he threw. Trayvon Diggs was on the outside, I think, to Amari Cooper. And Deshaun Watson lit the ball down the field, and it went so far out of bounds, CeeDee Lamb on the sideline caught the ball. And it's like, this is just a quarterback that was known for his big arm, deep ball accuracy, and his mobility. And he just blatantly can't hit the broads of a barn anymore. And I don't know. And then this new stuff came out. There's one more accusation or allegation that came out against him. And I do have to say allegation because nothing's been proven yet. So there's a new allegation against him. So we don't know if that's going on. But I'll do some more research. But I'm pretty sure there's a contract clause where if he gets suspended again, they can cut him and void his contract. Oh. And that is something, if I'm Cleveland, I understand you're going to get backlash for the idea of you traded everything you did to sign Deshaun Watson, and it was a complete colossal failure. But at this point in time, you need to get him and that money off the books as quickly as you can because it's just not working out. Joe Flacco came in to play better than him last year. Was Joe Flacco a long-term solution? No. But you know what? In the time last year, he fit in and did exactly what he needed to do. And it's like this Browns team has the pieces to be competing for the AFC North right now. They had the best defense in the NFL last year, statistically. And then they had, I don't know how long it's going to be until Nick Chubb plays. One of the best, if not the best, one of the best running backs in the league in Nick Chubb. You have great receivers in Amari Cooper. They bring in Jerry Jeudy, who's like kind of had a weird career in the Broncos, but still a good receiver with a good quarterback could be a good receiver. Like they have pieces. They have a good offensive line. Like you look at this Browns team, and they are legitimately a quarterback away. So you pay $240 million to this supposedly Pro Bowl quarterback, and he's asked. You need, and now with this more allegations coming out, if you can get that clause to cut him, get them the hell out of the team. Just get them. And honestly, I, I don't know. This might be a bit of a too much of an overreaction. He gets cut, his career could be done. He could be done.
Oh yeah, I feel like the only thing keeping him in the NFL has been his with the Browns.
Yeah, it's because like obviously nobody's going to pay him the $240 million again. So it's like maybe a team takes a fly on him for a cheap deal to be like a 1 year, $10 million to come in and play. But I don't know what team's going to want him after all this, especially these more allegations coming to light. I don't think anybody's going to want him.
Yeah, no.
I don't think any team's going to be like, oh, we're going to take a chance on Deshaun Watson because they just saw all the shit that the Browns got for trading for him a couple years ago in the first place. So it's like, there's a lot of emotion when it comes out about talking about Watson because he did some shitty stuff. Like I said, I watched the Cowboys game. He threw 2 picks. Could have had a third pick, but the rookie Carson couldn't quite grab the ball up in the air. Threw 2 picks. He had a touchdown, but it was mostly it wasn't anything crazy. You know what I mean? Like threw a touchdown. And that was in pretty much I think the end of the third quarter, maybe the fourth quarter. Like the game was over at that point in time. He just wasn't good. He just wasn't good. It seemed like he didn't have any communication with his receivers. There were so many times where he would get hit by Micah or DeMar Overshown or Osa or DeMarcus Lawrence, and he'd get up and he'd be looking at his receivers, like putting his hands up in the air and shit like that. Like he had no clue what they were doing, and they had no clue what he was doing. He's just he completely fell off a cliff as a player, and it turns out he's a bad dude. So if you can get him out and his $240 million out, or if you still have to pay a percentage of it but not the whole thing, I would just bite the bullet and get him the hell out the team.
Yeah, I mean, even then there was a video, I believe, when Deshaun Watson fumbled the one time. One of those offensive linemen, I think it was like Joel Batonio.
Yes, yeah.
Covered the fumble, and then he kind of looked back at Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun put his hand out, to help him up. He just got up. He didn't accept it, and he was kind of just like, "Why are you helping? Why are you here?"
Yeah, I don't think anybody on the team likes him. It's such a weird situation what happened with Deshaun Watson. Like within the past couple of years, everything completely changed for the guy, and it's like I can't even feel bad because it's shit he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, looking at it now, I believe Jameis Winston is the backup.
Is he? He might be. Jameis Winston might be the backup. Yeah,
I believe so. I believe he is the backup, and I feel like he could do a hell of a lot better job than what Deshaun Watson's doing.
Yeah, man. I don't.
30, Winston.
Yeah, honestly, that Deshaun Watson contract might be I think it's the worst contract. It's the worst contract in football.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Daniel Jones. But that's like $100 million less, so you can kind of
and all Watson has done off the field things that Daniel Jones is not. Daniel Jones has just been ass at football.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Well, it's nothing good, but I think that the quickest they can get him off the team, they need to. I'm gonna double check. If you want to say something more about Deshaun Watson, I'm gonna double check that rule about the contract void, just so I can make that completely clear.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get rid of the contract, that'd be great. And I feel like it might even be a morale booster for the team. Because of all this stuff coming out and all these allegations, I feel like not a lot of people actually wanted him there. You know what I mean? So getting rid of him and kind of saying, hey, he's not going to be associated with us anymore. He's not going to be coming around anymore. I feel like that could also boost morale around for everybody.
And I do want to say, because he said this in his post-game interview after the Cowboys game, he did lose his dad on Friday before the game, and he lost his best friend, like the day before the game. So I can understand to a degree mentally that probably made it really, really tough for him to play Sunday. And again, like when we talk about all this, we're not just talking about this past Sunday against the Cowboys. Like I can give a pass for a bad game after your dad and your best friend passed away within 2 days. That's insane. I couldn't imagine.
This has been over the course of 3 years.
Exactly. So like that's what I'm saying. I just want to put that out there that for people who are like, oh, but he lost his dad. I think we both fully understand that, and like I can give a pass for Sunday's game for like that kind of thing with multiple mental things going on. But yeah, it's been 3 seasons now, and it's been all off the field. And then I pulled it up here. I have it. Watson's fully guaranteed contract does have one out. If Watson didn't tell the Browns about this allegation when it just came out the other day,
okay,
that could potentially void the remaining guarantees in his contract. When he signed his deal, Deshaun Watson had to give the team a list of all his accusations in writing. So if he didn't include the one that just came out, like he knew that he did it, but didn't include it, and like when he signed the contract, they
Yeah.
could then use that to void the guaranteed money and get him out the contract.
To basically be like, he knew he did it and he knew it could become a problem.
Yeah, and he
But
lied and just didn't write it.
Yeah, he didn't let the Browns organization know beforehand. They can say, hey, you didn't tell us about it. You did not tell us about this. Part of your contract was you had to disclose it all. Bam, you're done.
Yep. And yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like on a normal circumstance of like guys' contracts getting voided for like other things. It's like, damn, you suck. It sucks to see a guy lose that kind of money. But when it comes to Deshaun Watson and everything he's done, it's like it's just hard to feel bad for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So who do you have next? I guess we're on number 4 now. We just spent like 20 minutes on Deshaun Watson, but you know what? I feel like we had to put it out there.
Yep. My fourth is the everyone was hyping up the Ravens offense. It hasn't changed. Let's just be honest. Even with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, this is the same Ravens that we've been seeing for the past how many years since Lamar has gotten in. Nothing has changed. It's just been overhyped because of the acquisition of Derrick Henry. Now, Derrick Henry is a really good back, top 5 back in the league, top 3 if you really want to argue for him. But he is getting a little older. I believe he's almost 30. Just like going off the top of my head, I believe he's almost 30. That is about the age that running backs go to pasture.
Yeah. That's a weird way to put it, but yeah.
This is about the age when running backs usually retire or teams kind of let them go.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of just, retired. And they had a really good game against the Chiefs, and they were about an inch away from getting the game-tying touchdown or game-winning touchdown if they would have kicked the extra point or went for 2. However, I believe Harbaugh was going for 2. So gotta respect that from him, but it just hasn't changed. The only thing that really changed is going from Andrews to Likely.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews out there playing left tackle out there now.
Yeah, basically. Pretty much.
But no, they pretty much just went from J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Mark Andrews still on the team, but those 3 to now Henry and Lively. Now Lively more athletic than Likely.
Mm-hmm.
More athletic than Andrews, but at the same time, it's kind of just like this has not changed. This is the same shit that we've been seeing for the past 4 years, or however long Lamar's been in the league.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. Same Ravens team, same thing's going to happen. They'll get to the playoffs, they'll lose in the second round to the Chiefs or whatever, and then we'll have the same questions about if Lamar Jackson can actually win in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is going to be the type of season Mark Andrews is going to have. I think this was just like a week 1 thing. Now, he definitely could, like, I think likely he's shown that he's going to be a good option for them. So I don't think there's any world where they completely reduce Likely snaps, but I think they're just going to try to get both of them involved. And Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in the league. 2 catches is abysmal, especially for a week 1 primetime game, AFC Championship rematch. 2 catches for your best offensive weapon or best like receiving weapon. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous, and I just think that was a poor game plan, or just they just couldn't find a way to get the ball to him. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to stay like that this season. They're going to find ways to get both of them involved. They're a run-heavy team, so them having 2 tight ends on the field isn't crazy at all. You know what I mean? That's probably going to be a lot of sets where they had 2 tight ends on the field. But yeah, no, it was definitely a weird, disappointing offense or game for the Baltimore's offense. Lamar Jackson didn't look very good. He just didn't look great. You know what I mean? He definitely had some. He was definitely holding on the ball a long time. He was kind of scattering around in the pocket. I don't know how much I'd take into that. Like, I think he's still gonna be good. I think he's a 2-time NFL MVP. Like, I think he's gonna be still good. But it was a weird kind of weak showing for him week 1. But then again, not a lot of offenses week 1. Some did, but there's a good amount of offenses week 1 that just didn't really play that well. You're knocking some rust off. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself 2 or 3 weeks into the season before we really judge if an offense is good or bad. You know what I mean? If we're doing completely serious. But like, so you know what? I agree that, with their offense, that just it's not really going to change much. Their bread and butter is running the ball down your throat and throwing to the tight ends.
Until it becomes playoff time, then you don't run the ball and you try and throw it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. My next one is the NFL's new kickoff rule didn't change anything. So DJ Dallas. Well, shout out DJ Dallas. Return to kickoff week 1. Big thing. Shout out DJ Dallas. NFL teams before the Monday night game returned 54 of 159 kickoffs, which is 33.9%, about 34%, which is above the 20.5% league average last year. So it's a good 14% increase, but it's also week 1, so I think teams were trying to take it out because it's the first week of the new rule.
Yeah.
But there's still so many balls getting kicked through the end zone, and it's like then the offense is starting on the 30-yard line now. It's like you would hope kickers are trying to put the ball within the 5-10 yard line to at least give their kicking team a chance to have better field position for their defense. They can stop them before the 30-yard line because it went from the 20 to the 25 to the 30 in the past 10, 15 years.
It's the last time I checked, it was the last time I truly remember it was still the 25. That's the 30 now.
I'm pretty sure. Is it not? I'm pretty sure they moved it up to the 30-yard line.
If that's the 30,
yeah, it's the 30 now.
I can understand the 25, but the 30, you're basically telling them, hey, here's midfield, go take it.
Well, because I don't know if it was like 10, 15 years ago. These started at 20.
Wait, it was the 20. Then I remember the 25. That's what I vividly remember.
Yeah.
And then now it's the 30.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're just kind of making it. They tried to make the kickoff more relevant with what they're doing, but then kickers are still kicking out of the back of the end zone and just giving their defense 5 less yards to work with. But it's like you would hope they would try to pin the ball inside the 5, make them return it, and then hopefully. But it just didn't really happen. Again, it was a 14% increase, but I think a lot of teams also returned it out of the end zone because they want to see what they could do. Just with guys like DJ Dallas returning it, you know what I mean? I think we go through the season, it might be higher, but we're at 34% now. It was 20% last year. We might find ourselves 26, 27% by the end of the season. It's going to be probably a little higher, but it's not going to be enough where it's what the hell was it doesn't really change much of anything. I understand the player safety of not wanting them to sprint full speed down the field and hit each other. But it's I don't know. Sometimes it's just you just kind of change something that just didn't really need to be touched. You know what I mean?
I feel like that rule change was kind of like they labeled it as this is going to be a new way to kind of, do kickoffs. We're going to get more kickoffs return. But it's also to the point where it's I feel like more or less about the player safety.
Yeah. And I respect that completely.
Because like you said, you got to basically 10 or 11, depending on if your punter or kicker's running down there. 10 or 11 grown men running full sprint down the field, and they're going full force as fast as they can go. And the return team, they kind of, jog backwards, see they caught, and then they turn. It's grown men running directly at them, and they're kind of just standing still.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to kind of defend yourself. And obviously with I know the NFL doesn't really want to use this word, but a lot of concussions, I feel happen because of that. And it's kind of just it's kind of I don't want to say it like this, but it's kind of like barbarian. You have 11 guys running down and just absolutely smashing into 10 people with the hopes that your return guy can get a touchdown. At least with this rule, it's kind of more like, offensive linemen hitting each other.
Yeah, you're right there. Yep.
It's safer than what they had. I know. I like it. I hope we see more kickoff returns for touchdowns. Yeah, I like that he play.
I also wish they would have just kept it to 25. If you kick off or touchbacks to 25, because like you said, the 30, I didn't like when they went from the 20 to the 25. Because I'm like, man, you're giving the offense 5 more yards. Now you're giving them another 5 yards. Whereas, like I said, they get a first down or 2. They're already at midfield. And it's making it tough on these defense, especially because of how high-powered NFL offenses are getting these days. I just think you're going against the defense a little bit.
I mean, in hell, if you actually if you actually think about it, if you're the Ravens or the Cowboys with your kickers and Justin Tucker and Brandon Aubrey, all you got to do is get to the 50 and you're in field goal range. Because both of them guys can hit from 67 yards. Obviously, you don't want to do that all the time, but you get on the other side of that 50 is kind of like, all right, Brandon, go get us a field goal. Go kick a 65-yarder.
Yeah, they should have let him kick that 71-yarder. I wish they would have let him kick that 71-yarder just because, man. The time was expiring. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, on the other side of the ball. They should have just let him kick it, man. I don't know. Whatever.
71 yards would have been amazing.
Yeah, because, he tied Justin Tucker's record before the delayed game. Or I think it was delayed game. They should – man, I think he would have made it from 71. If not, it would have been right there on that crossbar because it was – yeah, man, he's got such a leg.
He does. Hopefully they get the chance to actually let him kick from that far.
Oh yeah, like I said, they fully intended to let him kick the record tying one. So I don't think if it's what's it, 'cause it's 67, right? Its record's at 68.
I believe it's 67.
Okay, yeah. If they get to that area, they're gonna let him kick it for the record. I know Jerry. He's gonna be like, make him go kick. We want the record.
No,
That's how they
Jerry,
are.
Jerry will be like, hey, make sure it's 70.
Yeah,
Not
right.
68, not 69. We want 70. We want 70 in the record books.
That's right. All right, who do you have as your last overreaction?
My last overreaction is my team, the Steelers. Their offense has not changed. It's never going to
I don't
change.
think that's an overreaction. I think it's just the
No,
truth.
what I mean by that is it's never going to change. It's not something like 5 weeks in, it's going to be better. It is never going to change. It is going to be the same thing. We run 2-3 tight ends with one wide receiver, and we run the ball. We run the ball. We do a play action pass that gets dropped, batted, or out of bounds. Then we punt. And we rely on our defense to score all our points and to get us in a position to where the offense can maybe go 20 yards. And then we kick a field goal, just like in the Falcons game. Obviously, we did have some big plays. Justin Fields throwing the ball to George Pickens down the field, or Justin Fields running, or what happened. But our MVP of that game, let's just be honest, was either T.J. Watt or Chris Boswell.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he tied the record for most 50-yard field goals made in week 1. Like, you're relying on your kicker to kick 57, 56, 51 yarders to win a game.
Yeah.
I understand the offense is not as great as people think it will be, but it's not going to change. Steelers fans, I'm right here. I'm sitting here. Just get ready for this all season. We're going to go 9-8. We're going to have a winning record, but it's going to be the same point. We're just like, it's just going to be the same stuff. Maybe a chunk play here, chunk play there, but we've seen it before. The only difference is it's not Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph. It's Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. The only difference is they have mobility now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
No, I get it. Like I kind of talked about this earlier with like the Steelers offense. Like it's just like they just don't have. It's not a dynamic offense.
No.
They just don't really have anything going on. They don't have anybody that can really get down the field. Like I like George Pickens, but it's like he's not this crazy deep threat. You know what I mean? Like he's not this. They don't have a quarterback to get the ball to him on that kind of. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a crazy high-powered, fast offense. They're gonna run the ball for a couple yards each time. Throw their short little passes. It's just that's what they're gonna do. Yeah. And like just I don't know how far it's gonna get you. Like I don't know. Like yeah, like they just don't have an offense to compete. Like if you go into the AFC playoffs, you're gonna play the Chiefs, probably the Bills, and then God, let's just I don't even know. Well, I'm gonna completely blank on some other teams that are like the Ravens. Like you're gonna play these teams that have great defenses and good offenses. Yeah. And you guys simply like the Steelers have a great defense. They're one of the best defenses in the league. If the opponent scores 21 points on your defense, you're probably gonna lose the game.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It's like that defense has absolutely zero room for error. They can't give up more than a couple touchdowns or the game is over. Their offense just can't keep up. And it's just, I don't know, man. You would think, I mean, like bringing in 2 quarterbacks with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, we thought it would at least be better. I don't think anybody expected the Steelers offense to take a jump. Yeah. But again, it's only week 1 and Justin Fields plays. And like, it's going to be Russell Wilson, I think, most of the season. So we'll see what Russell Wilson does.
I believe that Justin Fields is actually named the starter for week 2.
Okay, but Wilson still got his injury going on. But I'm just saying, like, I think once Wilson comes back, they're going to give him the shot because I think that's who they want to play this season more than Fields. But I just even with like I said, because even in Denver, we didn't see Russell Wilson be this crazy good quarterback, and he has some options there on offense. You know what I mean?
And coincidentally, we're playing Denver.
Yeah. This Steelers offense just doesn't have the pieces to be high powered and score a lot.
I just growing up watching the 3 Bs, AB, Ben, and Le'Veon Bell, like that offense was so like it just got your attention with how fast paced and how dynamic that offense was, and this coincidental about that is our defense was actually quite poop during them times. Mm-hmm. So we went from like during the 2000s when we won the Super Bowls to having a really good defense. Like 2005, 2008, and then when we went back, I think in 2010 or 2012, we had a really good defense, top of the league. And then during that 2010 stretch, we switched to an all right defense, but a really good offense, and we still couldn't win. Mm-hmm. it's yeah, no.
Yep.
Just get ready for the same old Steelers fans.
Yeah. Well, you talked negative about your team. I'm going to talk a little positive about my team. Again, this
Super
is a
Bowl
week one overreaction. Huh?
Super Bowl champions.
I debated putting that, but I decided to back off a little bit. I back off a little bit because I know what team I root for. Um, the Cowboys are going to be the best team in the NFC. And I understand you're looking, you're like, you're crazy. You're the 49ers there. You know, you maybe the Packers, depending, but Jordan Love could be out for this. I don't know what Jordan Love is.
Packers are a stretch.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because last year they beat us to the playoffs and made to the like. I understand the NFC has
Eagles
potentially as well. I understand that, but this is week one overreactions, and I've got to pop my chest out a little bit. Dismantled the Browns 33-17. The final score makes it look closer than it ever was. That game was never in question, never even close. Dak 19 for 32, 179, and a touchdown. Kind of like Aaron Rodgers, pedestrian game. He looked better than Aaron Rodgers, but statistically just didn't. He didn't have to do anything. Like they were just dominating on defense. He had a crazy touchdown to Brandon Cooks where he had pressure in his face and threw the ball to the corner of the end zone before Brandon Cooks even broke out of the route. Brandon Cooks was still running straight up the field when Dak threw it to the back corner of the end zone. They just knew where they were going to be. Brandon Cooks turned around, the ball was almost there, caught it, easy touchdown. Zeke, in his very first carry as the Dallas Cowboy again, hurdled a defensive back. This is not 2017. This is 2024. Zeke hurdled somebody.
You're being serious.
I'm being completely serious.
I have to look that up then.
He ended with 10 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Not the craziest stats, but again, he also was an insane pass blocker, which is I think is something I mentioned before on this podcast. That he is a good pass blocking. Right? There's one where he had a little play action and he dove straight at the line. I mean, he stonewalled a linebacker blitzing right up through the middle. Gave Dak enough time to find CeeDee Lamb up the field. Like it's just he's a great pass rusher. They gave Dowdle the ball a couple times, 8 for 26. It's kind of a change of pace back. I think him and Zeke are going to get a lot of interchangeable carries. I think Dalvin Cook's eventually going to find his way into the rotation to kind of just take a couple of carries. They're not going to have a bell cow back. They're just not. This is like I said, this isn't 2017, 2018 Zeke where you can give him the ball and he's going to lead the league in rushing yards. They're going to use 2 to 3 guys that are just going to whoever's the fresh legs is going to get the ball, and it is what it is, and I think it's fine. CeeDee Lamb, 5 catches, 61 yards. You're like, okay, whatever. But he had a big catch down the sideline. He had multiple big catches down the sideline. He had a couple third down catches, which is there. The pass, like I said, the offense just wasn't crazy this week because we didn't need him to be crazy this week. Where I want or shout out Jake Ferguson. He had his injury. Turns out it's supposed to be, I think, a sprained MCL. So only about a 4-week because that was something really scary because you could hear during the broadcast he screamed when he jumped and his leg got stuck. So that was scary. Turpin got his first ever career touchdown on a punt return. That was crazy. I was waiting for the flag the entire time, but they never threw the flag. That was crazy. What I want to talk about is this Cowboys defense. And again, I'll preface what I said earlier. We played the Browns with Deshaun Watson. They didn't have Nick Chubb, not the craziest offense of all time. So I am taking that into account. But Eric Kendricks, his Dallas Cowboys debut, 2 sacks, a pick, left the game for dehydration. He said, I did my job. You got it, youngins. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 sacks, got in the backfield for another tackle for loss. Trayvon Diggs got his first game back from his ACL injury that kept him out from week 3 last year, had a pick, a deflected pick. And he also played phenomenal coverage on Amari Cooper. I think he gave up 2 catches the entire day. Like he was strapped down. He was the Trayvon Diggs we all knew from the season before, the all-pro corner. Let's go. Obviously, Micah Parsons had a sack, had multiple QB hits. I think he had 9 pressures in week 1, which led the league. He was in Deshaun Watson's face the entire game. He pretty much the one DeMarcus Lawrence sack and then the Overreactions sack were because Micah Parsons blew right up through the middle and made Watson run onto the side. So you got to give a little credit there, even though it doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Also, one more thing about Overreactions. You showed me that clip where he kind of just ran right past.
Yep.
Micah Parsons and then just annihilated Watson.
That's exactly who I was going to next. Overreactions in his debut for the Cowboys because he missed his entire rookie year with, I think, an ACL injury as well. Had 5 tackles. 5 tackles. He had a sack, and he had I think he had 2 QB hits that he hit Watson as he threw the ball or right after he let go of the ball. The one he laid out, both the sack and the other hit, he laid out Watson. I'm sure he probably took some joy in that. And yeah, the play you said, the sack he had on Deshaun Watson, Micah broke contain, and we all know Micah's a very, very fast player. Was hawking down Deshaun Watson as he ran out to the right sideline, and you see overshow him. I think I saw the stat: 14 yards in 2.8 seconds. Just flies past Micah and lays him out. Was so hyped, his first career sack. That was crazy. The rookie, Kalen Carson, 22 years old, man. He why am I gonna oh my god, Wake Forest. I'm so sorry. The rookie corner from Wake Forest was phenomenal. He did give up the touchdown to Jerry Jeudy, but he hit one of them like little zig routes where he goes in and then to the out on the end zone. And if you played Madden, that shit is unguardable. So I can't get mad at Carson for that. He almost had a pick. He jumped as high as he could and ball went right through his fingertips. He couldn't quite get it. He had multiple deflections. He was strapped up. And with DeRon Bland being out at least 5 or so weeks, we needed another guy. And Kalen Carson had a phenomenal debut. We had a lot of young players come in and play really, really well in this defense. And it's like I understand we played the Browns without Nick Chubb, but the defense looked dominant. And then, dude, do I even need to? Brandon Albright, 4 for 4, hit a 57-yarder. He made a 67-yarder, but it didn't count because of a delay of game. And then, or 66, I think. He made a 66, didn't count for a delay of game. The 71er, they lined up for the 71-yarder, and then they ended up calling a timeout and decided not to. Whatever. You know what I mean? Best kicker in the NFL. But no, I just think, this Dallas, except the Dallas offense didn't need to do anything. So they kind of just were like, I think they were just getting in shape. They were trying some different things, trying some end rounds, trying some short dump passes. Like, I don't think we saw any of the full Cowboys offense this week because they just flat out didn't need it. Yeah. And then we saw a dominant Mike Zimmer defense. A lot of people talk. Dan Quinn had his high moments in Dallas when he first got there. Then he kind of left on a low spot. Mike Zimmer. One thing about Mike Zimmer versus Dan Quinn did not like playing his young guys. He liked playing his older veterans and established guys. Mike Zimmer played a lot of the young rookies this week, and a lot of them showed out and played phenomenal. And that's what we need, man. We have our stars. You have Trayvon. You have Micah Parsons. But you have DeMarcus Lawrence. But you need these young guys to fill in the linebacker spots, on the other corner spots. Safety, we still have Malik Hooker. We still have Donovan Wilson back there. Like, you need these young guys to come out and just play, and they did that. And we played the Saints this week, who just put up 47 last week. But I'm going to guarantee you on this podcast right now, they're not scoring 47. That's an easy. I feel like that's not even a call out. That's a pretty easy thing. They're just not going to score 47. I think Dallas wins this week, but we'll get into that later with the predictions for the TikTok. But that's my last one. Realistically, I think we're going to be a 2 seed. I do think 49ers are going to end up better. But week 1 overreaction. I'm saying Dallas is the 1 seed.
Dallas for the Super Bowl.
You said that, not me. So yeah, they can clown you for that one.
I'm a Steelers fan, so I get clowned as it is for the team I root for. So.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, we never really thought about that. This is an interesting podcast. A Lakers and Cowboys fan, a Celtics and Steelers fan.
Yeah, we're just bandwagons.
Our franchises morbidly hate each other, but yet we're here chilling.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the funny thing is we both came into our fandoms naturally, too. It's not like neither one of us were like, oh, the team's winning. Like, oh, we like them. No, it's like, for me, like, I guess, for me, it's like my dad grew up in Texas for a long time, so he was a Cowboys fan. So it just kind of, like, through our family history, I just kind of became a Cowboys fan. Plus, I can't be bandwagon because we've never won in my lifetime. Like, we've never won a Super Bowl in my life, so you can't call me a bandwagon. And then Lakers, I was, like, at a friend's house for his birthday party. He was like, I don't know, I think he was 9. It was like his 8th or 9th birthday party. We were in elementary school, and he was a Lakers fan. So I went there, and as we were like eating we had the little Doritos bags, walking taco Dorito bag. He had a Lakers game on, and I got to see like Kobe Bryant for the first time ever. And I'm like, that was his words, like, holy shit. So my first ever experience into really actually watching basketball was the Lakers at my friend's house. So I just kind of became a Lakers fan that way. So yeah, I mean, like I said, kind of naturally, not like a forced thing. So how about you?
I became a Steelers fan kind of from my dad, watching football. And, you can say I'm a bandwagon because they did win the Super Bowl in 05, 08. And that was kind of like when I started watching. But I really didn't watch until like 2013.
But at the same time, like, we are from Pennsylvania. So being a Steelers fan isn't like, we're like, that is our home state team.
Yeah. And the other team for me is Boston Celtics. I love Boston. I really started watching the end of that, the big four, if you want to call it big three, big four era, when they were going and having their battles against LeBron and the Heatles, like that 2012, 2013, and then obviously endured the 14 and the 15 until we got IT, and then we drafted Brown and Tatum, and but there were a couple years, and what drew me to the Celtics, other than obviously my dad rooting for him. I know he's got some personal stuff going on right now with some criminal activity, but Rajon Rondo, one of the best passers of all time.
Yeah.
And seeing him go down there, he'd jump up and he'd be looking to the left corner, throw the ball behind his head to Ray Allen, or he'd drive down the right side and he just hit that, cross court bounce pass for the three, or he fakes you out with the fake behind the back and then he gets the layup. Yeah, he was just such an amazing player to watch, and I'm glad he got that second ring, even if it was with the Lakers.
I was waiting for you to finish because I was going to say, shout out Los Angeles Lakers NBA champion Rajon Rondo. That's what I was waiting for, to shout that out.
His second ring was with the Lakers when he went over there for the bubble champion. I believe it was the bubble.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of how I came into my teams.
Yeah. So call us bandwagon if you want, but we know in our hearts where we got our fandom from.
Yep. Now the only thing I will accept calling me a bandwagon is the Yankees, but I don't really follow baseball a whole lot.
I'm an Orioles fan just because I grew up in Maryland for the first 14 years of my life, so the Orioles were just kind of the team that were there. So that's why I'm an Orioles fan.
Yeah, don't let this guy fool you. In middle school, he was one beast of a linebacker.
Hey, middle school into high school, man. I was that guy. I just got another phone call. They won't shut up with me. Can you hear that beeping?
Yeah, very little. Very little.
Sorry about that, guys. People keep trying to call me and sell me insurance or something. I don't know.
He's a popular guy.
Yeah. But is there anything else you want to talk about before we get up out of here?
Aston Jeetney for Heisman.
There we go. Like I said, go down, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.
One more thing.
Okay.
Colorado plays Colorado State 7:00 on Saturday.
Got it.
Watch that game. It's going to be a really good game. I remember last year. I believe the game started at 10:00.
Mm-hmm.
It had it had a shit ton of people up at 2 a.m. our time just watching the game. I was standing in my living room watching the game to see how it ended. So go check that out. Shout out, Dion and Colorado, and Jay Norvell and Colorado State. Should be a great game. Who's your prediction to win?
I have a receiver in NCAA 25 that's on Colorado State, so I'm going Colorado State.
On Colorado State, I think Colorado. I think Travis Hunter and Shadur, they're gonna do their thing and they're gonna get the win for Colorado.
Yep. So on that note, we will see you guys next Wednesday, and then look for our TikTok on Sunday for Levi's picks for the NFL Week 2. Peace, guys.